My name is Brett Seeley, and today we're going to be covering lighting. Last week I had a photo shoot and we shot at a luxury car dealership. I normally don't shoot a lot of models with cars, but for some reason, over the last couple months, I've shot quite a few. One of my previous shoots was with a Lamborghini that was in the Transformers movies. That video will be coming up in the next couple weeks. If you didn't catch my last video, you can watch it here. And that one showed the posing and the model interaction. The model that we shot had only shot probably less than 10 times. While not a newbie, she was probably not the most confident in her own posing. On that video, a little bit slower paced. It doesn't have as many cuts. It was mostly just so you could hear the interaction and how the photo shoot flowed. Now on this shot, I wanted to show you the lighting so you could get an understanding of why the lights were placed where they were and just get an idea of how many lights you might need for yourself. Now I've got a ton of lights. I love lighting. Not only do I have strobes, but I have LED lights as well. We got the plug-in lights. I got a lot of lights. I'm obsessed with lights. If it were up to me, I would use 20 lights for every single shoot. That sounds ridiculous, I know. But when you specialize in fitness, every light has a very, very precise purpose. In fitness, we're trying to use lighting to showcase the physique, and we're trying to embrace the shadows. So by using light a certain way, you can introduce shadows, and then you have to be careful not to erase the shadows with placing more lights. So there's kind of a science with lighting. But on this particular shoot, it was less about muscles and more about showcasing the body, hopefully in a way that looks good in front of a nice car. So let's show you what we did. We had 4 lights with a Profoto B10 Plus as the key, which is 500 watt. And then we had 3 of the B10s, which are 250 watts. The modifiers, we had a 36-inch octo, and we had 2 1x3s and then one 1x4. Put the model in front of the blue banister, and then we had the car parked behind. The key is aimed towards your chest, and the key was slightly feathered in front of her. And it was about yay high. Then we had 2 lights on the ground. We had camera right and camera left. And then we had the 1x4 behind her back here. Now the reason for all the lights, so we had this light here, obviously as the key. This was the main source that lit her up. And then we had a light here, a little bit of separation on the camera left side. And then on here, we had the light on the ground for the separation on the camera right. And then back here for a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a rim. And to hit this back arm back here. Now, this was an easy 4-light setup. Do you need that 4 lights? You really don't. But let's break down each light individually so you can see what they do by themselves. Now, the most common mistake that I see when lighting fitness. This is not necessarily the case when you're shooting glam or portraits or seniors. Because when you're shooting senior pictures, you're probably not going to have anybody that's dressed in a 2-piece bikini. The most common light position for a lot of portraits is going to be 45 off to the side, 45 degrees up. Now, this is a very common light setup. It's not my favorite. And the reason why is because most people, they put the light really close like this. And if you look at the brightness level, the face is lit up really well, but then the lower body normally is not lit very well at all. And so you get a hot spot on the face, and then the lower body is normally in the shadows. Now, for portraits, if someone's wearing jeans or a skirt or a dress like that, it's not a big deal. But if somebody's wearing shorts or if somebody's shooting fitness where you want to showcase the core and the quads, this light setup is horrible. The reason why it's horrible is because all the light is on the face, but then there's not enough light on the body to showcase the physique. And so if you only have a single light, what I recommend, and this is if you're shooting bikini and or fitness, what I recommend is bringing the light back, lowering it a little bit, and then feathering it a little bit. When you feather it, it's aimed slightly in front. And what that's going to do is going to light the subject with this side of the light instead of the center part, which is going to be the most concentrated. When you light with the side, then it's a wider spread of light, and then you're going to get a little bit more even tones from top to bottom. So if you look at the face and look at the legs, it's going to hit a lot more evenly top to bottom. Now with a single light, it does look nice, but it's not going to be the ideal light source for fitness. Now for glam, if you move the light towards the front, glam's about showcasing the body, but it's not about showcasing muscle. So a single light setup like this is perfectly fine. But for fitness, if you want to embrace the shadows, which is what fitness is about, you want to get that light off slightly to the side. What that's going to do, if you look at the midsection, is going to enhance the core. It's going to enhance certain muscle detail. For quads, it's going to bring out a lot more detail in the quads. It's going to make somebody look a lot more muscular. And for fitness, that's what you want. The only downside to having the light off to the side is then you're introducing shadows on the non-lit side. So the easy workaround on that is to add a light over here on this side. So if you look at where the camera is, this is a semi-sandwich light setup. You have a light on the left, and then you have a light on the right. So if you have this light over here, you position it to where it's like two slices of bread, one on the left, one on the right. Then you're going to see a highlight, shadow, highlight, shadow, highlight, shadow. You're going to introduce a lot more highlights or spots of highlights, and then also you're going to preserve spots of shadows. You want to preserve that as much as you can to maintain the fitness element. Not necessarily mandatory if you're shooting, senior pictures or anything that's non-fitness related, but even with bikini, for someone that's not a competitor, I still like using this light setup because you're going to add a lot more definition, a lot more depth to the shot. So if you have two lights, one on the left, one on the right, this is a very easy light setup that I would do that's going to make the body, it's going to make the physique look really good. Now, if I had to use a third light, I'd use this light back here. What that's going to do is going to give you a little bit more separation on this back side. If you didn't have hair in the face, then you'd have a nice little edge light on the jawline. So for a 2-light setup, this one here and this one here, for a 3-light setup, I like having the light over here too. Nice thing about having this light over here, then I can move this light more to the front and then have this light more to the back. And this is going to give you a little more detail. When this light is more towards the front, it's going to still protect the shadows here, but then you might get a little bit of a highlight underneath this side of the core. Going to help just add a little bit more specular highlight spots. This light back here, reason for having this more towards the back is you're going to get a highlight on this back arm too, for a little bit more of that separation. You're getting the back of the camera right side lit up, and then also separation on the inside arm back here. And then this light back here, this one's going to give you a little bit more highlights on the camera left leg to match what's on the camera right. And then might also get a little bit of spill onto the car for a little bit more detail into the car too. Another position that I might put this light in is underneath the key light. By having a light under here, and then we'll have to control the power here. What this does, this ensures that you have even tones from top to bottom. One of my biggest pet peeves for bikini shots or for fitness is when there are drastically different shades of color from top to bottom. When the face is really, really super lit, but then the legs are super dark. It drives me crazy. So having this light back and forth, this is going to depend on, the individual's physique. But if you have someone that has really amazing quads, having the light underneath, especially off to the side, it's going to make the quads look absolutely insane. So this is why we have all the lights. Let's turn this light off so you can see what it looks like without. As you can see here, the back arm is lit, the side of the quads, both sides. You have the inside and outside of the arms. And then this light, when you turn this back on, it gets nice highlights for the rest of the body, and you still maintain detail in the core. Now, one thing I want to make sure that you understand, this is where we put the lights for this particular shot. Does that mean that those are the best spots for lights? No, absolutely not. There's 100 different ways you can put lights. There's 100 different ways you can put 3-light setups or 2-light setups. Now, the nice thing about lighting is there's no right or wrong. It's really up to your taste. But the thing that I want to stress is when you're lighting up the body, when you're lighting up the physique, when you're lighting up the model, make sure that if there are any bright spots, the bright spots are there on purpose. If there's any dark spots, the dark spots are there on purpose. What you don't want is you don't want a random accidental shadow going across where it's just there randomly. The light has to be there on purpose. Every single speck of light that highlights the body should be there intentionally. Yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you saw something that maybe you haven't tried before, and then you will try it. If you see something that you disagree with, let us know. There's, like I said, there's not one way to light. There's a ton of different ways. And so if you have another light setup that you think is better, let us know. Share with the community so that way we all grow at the same time. But that's it for today. If you found value, please leave a comment. If you have any questions, leave a comment as well. Smash the thumb button. I hate saying that. Hit the like button. And if you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. And if you find that you are just not getting the growth in your photography that you would like, then I'd like to suggest that you consider joining my coaching group. I've got a group of amazing creatives who believe in the concept of colleagues over competition. If you go on Instagram and look up LFC_MoBetta, you can find the members and you can see examples of the work. One of the proudest moments I have is the fact that many of the members charge more than I do now. A lot of them have gone from part-timers to now full-timers. A lot of the most popular fitness photographers in the scene right now started off in our group 5 years ago. And so if you're trying to get your foothold, if you're trying to get better with fitness photography, check out the Instagram page. And I have a questionnaire at the top of the Instagram page. And so if you want to consider joining, fill it out, and then someone will be back in touch with you. But that's it for today. Until next video, keep shooting.